Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all are doing well. I am with you MD Shajadur Ahmed and I am welcoming you all to another tutorial of Python programming. And today we are going to discuss about the sequence in Python programming. So there are a lot of sequencing in Python programming, namely as list, tuples and so on. So we are actually going to discuss about them one by one with some proper example. So let us begin. Okay, so first of all we are going to discuss about list. As we said, list is a sequence, but the word collection gave a better understanding about list. So it is actually a collection of elements. It stores values of same data type or different data type. So just like a collection of all of values or all types of values or all types of elements. List is iterable. Each index can be iterated using index number. It also allows iteration using negative index. So a particular element from the list can be called by or can be iterated using negative positive index as well as negative index. We are going to see that. So list is mutable. Element of the list can be changed. So the list element of the list also can be replaced. So we are going to see that. So first of all, list operation, creating list. So list can be created by placing the list element inside a square brackets separated by comma. So as you can see, list, this is our list identifier, and after that we are actually using square brackets, and then inside the square brackets all the elements separated by comma. So as we have discussed, we can have different types of elements inside a single list. So there are some integer, float and character values or elements inside the list, as you can see. So they can be number, string, object and another list. Okay. So empty list can be created by assigning blank square brackets or using list method. So we can also assign or also declare a empty list, and then we can laterally we can assign or we can insert value inside the list. Okay. So iterating list can be iterated using index number. It also allows iteration using negative index. Let us consider a list named C. So suppose our list is C, identifier as C, and then there are 6 elements inside the list. And as we know from the array indexing, the indexing is started with 0. So normal indexing here also is started with 0. And when we are talking about the negative indexing, start from the right side and start with -1 and then gradually go back to the left side. So as you can see from the figure. So although there are examples, but let us execute this this portion of code. So as you can see, we have created a list name as LST and put 4 elements there, and then we are actually trying to print the third element of the list by using the positive index, and it is 2. So if we run this code, you can see it will print DIO. And now let us see, let us consider that we are actually trying to print same value using negative index. In that particular case, as we seen that it negative index start with the right side and start with -1, so it should be -2. So just copy this portion of code and put -2 before it, and then run it. So you can see it is also giving output of that say third element. So by this way we can actually access the elements of the list. So let's go back to the slide. Okay, let's move on to next. So now we are going to discuss about how to insert an element into the list. So a new element can be inserted into list. This can be done by using append method. So we can use append method to insert a new element into the list. This method insert a new value at the end of the list. So whenever we use append method, it will insert a new element but at the end of a list. So as you can see, there are 6 elements already in the list, and then we are actually trying to insert another element like 19. Then it will insert in the 6th index, that means in 7th position of the list. So let us execute this part as well. So to do that, first of all, our list lst.append, then inside the braces we just need to put the value or the element we are actually want to insert. So if it is inserted or not, let us check that. So let us print the list. Okay, so now hit run. There are 5 elements inside our list, and the new element is test, and it is actually inserted at the end of the list. So that's how the append method works, and that's how we can insert a new element inside the list. So let us go back. Let's move on to next. So list operation are mutable. So as we said that a list value, a list element can be also replaced, and to replace that we just need to mention in which index we are actually trying to replace the value. Suppose in that particular case we are saying that we are actually trying to replace the second index value, that means this value, and replace by 13. So as you can see, after replacing, the value become 13. So let us execute this part of code. Okay, let's consider we are trying to replace the third element of the list. So for that we just need to say, because we are trying to replace third element, we need to say 2, and then we say the value is, so it should replace the previous element diu with daffodil, and then let us print the list so that we can check that whether it is replaced or not. So as you can see, now the third element, that means diu, has been replaced by daffodil. So that's how actually it works. We can also replace a value or mute a value inside a list by using just the index and assigning a new value. So let's go back. Okay, let's continue. So now tuple introduction. So tuple is also a sequence. Just like list, tuple is known as a collection. So it is also a collection. It stores value of same data types or different data types. So it is also allowed to store values or elements of different data types. Tuple is iterable. Each index can be iterated using index. It also allows iteration using negative index. So it's also exactly works like as we have seen in list. It is also work as using negative index or positive index as well. But the difference is tuple is unmutable. So element of the tuple cannot be changed. So you cannot change the previous elements of a tuple, as we have did in list. We have whenever it is needed, we have changed the value of list or the elements of list. But here, when we are dealing with tuple, we cannot change the value inside a tuple, which is actually assigned previously. So tuple operation, creating tuple. So tuple can be created by placing the element inside a parenthesis separated by comma. So here we actually use parenthesis, whereas we have in list we have used square brackets. So all the things is similar, but here actually just we use parenthesis. The elements can be number, string, object, and other muted object as well. So empty list can be created by assigning blank parenthesis and using tuple method. So we also can create a blank tuple, and then further we will insert some values. Tuple operation, iterating tuple. So tuple can be iterated using index number. It also allows iteration using negative index. So let's consider a tuple name t. So this is a tuple name t, and there are 6 elements in the tuple. And the indexing, you can see, is similar as we have seen in list. That is, for the normal indexing it starts with zeros, and for the negative indexing it start from the right side and it start with 1 and gradually move forward to left side. So exactly in similar way we can access any of the element of a tuple by using negative or as well as positive index. So next, inserting into a tuple. So new element can be inserted into a tuple. This can be done using plus equal operator. The inserts this insert a new value at the end of the tuple. So we can also insert a new element in the tuple. So for that we need to use this operation like this, that t is our tuple. So t plus equal to, and then the two new element or the new elements that we are actually intended to insert, and it will be inserted or it will be added at the end of the tuple. So let us see that. So as you can see, you have created a tuple, and there are 4 different types of element in tuple, and then we are actually trying to access the third element of the tuple, that means DIO. That's why we are actually using this line, and then in this line we are actually inserting 2 new elements inside the tuple, and for that we have used this operator plus and equal to, and then first of all a string type value and then float type value. So if it is inserted or not, so let us check by printing the tuple. So we can just simply print a tuple by print and the tuple identifier. In our case it is TPL, and now hit run. So as you can see, first of all it is printing the third element of the tuple by using this line, and then as we have inserted 2 new elements, so previously there are 4 element, but now as we have inserted 2 new element, it becomes total of 6 element, and it inserted 2 new element at the end of the tuple. So that's how we actually can insert new element inside a tuple. So okay, so that is the end of the first part. We will discuss about further like sequencing, sorting things in our second part. Till then, everyone stay safe, stay home. See you in the next part. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.